Okay, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mr. Roboo Decodo. So I want to open up today with a quote, and that quote is that the truth is singular and eternal. Now I don't know where it's come from, but that's some shit that really reigns true for me in my life, and probably if you have a look at it, that shit's going to apply more or less anywhere. So with that being said, and with thanks to whoever that quote belongs to, I'm sorry I'm unable to attribute it. Let's get into it. So we're looking at the episode. This is the episode following the last episode that I took apart. I may go back and pull apart the episode before that one, but today we're just going to do a part of this episode. So here we go. So here we've got Tyrell Wellick. He's the E-Corp guy, and now he's playing like a lunar deity type character in this show. Now you'll notice anytime you see him, there's some sort of moonlight or equivalent behind him, above him, illuminating him in that way. So let's keep going on. We've got a lot of red here, so if you can imagine the division, right? We've got in politics, you've got your red and the blue, and you see that applied to quite a lot of things. So, you know, your alchemical wedding, that type of thing. So red and blue, you know, what do you give for baby gifts? You give a blue present if it's a boy, or a red, aka pink, present for a girl. So red and blue is that division as well. So Tyrell Wellick is the moon. This guy's dead in front of the moon. In the moonlight, the red light. So let's keep going. Now here's Elliot. Elliot is the son of Mr. Robot, the S-U-N and the S-O-N. And you'll see how that plays out through this episode, or well, through the whole episode, but today we're just going to go through this portion of it. Something else of note, like I didn't sort of pick up on it until recently. I guess it's sort of been an undertone that I hadn't sort of paid too much attention to, but this is a biblical story. And I had a conversation with this about one of my good friends recently. It seems that we only have this one story and then derivations of it, and it's the Bible story, or you know, stories that come from those books. Like I picked up on it in Game of Thrones. That's the first time I started really paying attention to decoding television and movie media, and it sort of clicked with me then, like, holy shit, this is just this story retold in this way. And you know, it seems that's the only story we've got. So with that being said, there's a message here. And obviously, you're here to learn the message, I think, and let's keep going.
Fuck, get in. Check the logs. If the recording wasn't sent back to Dark Army, wipe everything. Make sure they can't track the vent.
What about him?
He's dead.
Okay, so underneath Rami Malek's name up there in the left-hand corner, you'll see two signs. One is Steakhouse, and the other one is Score. Or Scores. So if you have a look underneath, you'll see Steakhouse Scores, and on the right hand side you've got your two little red eyes or red lights over there, also on the building on your left hand side. And look, I'm not going to point out every single triptych that occurs in this episode, because there's literally hundreds of them. I'll let you, if you're interested, you can go through and find them yourself, but you're going to find X, Y, and triptychs. They're just layered through this thing so thick that you just, everywhere you look, you'll find it.
Be clear, I am not calling you because we are good.
I just want to point out here, and I will come back to it on a later scene, I'm not sure what the architectural name for these things are, but over the head of the windows here, and you quite often see it over doorways, like that keystone stone sort of design. A good example of it is that you've probably seen recently, the Epstein Temple, that Egyptian-looking kind of archway, kind of brickwork, kind of. And as I said, we'll touch on that again later. So.
I am calling because I got into Olivia's Cyprus National Bank account. Unfortunately, her access isn't good enough.
So there you got a double triptych underneath the keystones. I said I wasn't going to do this, so I'll leave the triptychs alone. You can find them yourself.
I can see all the day's account numbers, but she's not authorized to transfer anything. Got lateral access inside the bank system, but hit a wall. All their authentication goes through a proxy, and everything else on their domain is read-only, which means we are gonna have to break into Virtual Realty
So Virtual Realty is a company they're breaking
and get on
into.
their...
Have a look at the painting over to the left of the security booth. Now, Virtual Realty is basically virtual reality without the I. So I'll let you put what you want into the meaning of that. Also, you can see your Fibonacci rectangles there in the door, and also the windows, and also the other things that we've mentioned. So we'll keep rolling on.
server security lacks with Christmas, so
I just stepped back. Now there you've got these keystones over the windows, so and also the other encoding that becomes part of that. Now I was trying to figure out what is the meaning of this, and I was just messing around with some scribbling in my book, and it turns out that these patterns, if you were to draw the flower of life, and then the flower of life had 90 degrees, or the seed, the flower, the loops of the first circle, so that makes the petals of that flower. If you draw a 90 degree and a straight one, what have you got? All of your petals end up basically making these divisions that come off those things over the doorway. So that was a bit of a revelation. So we'll keep rolling on from there. Go ahead and do the experiment if you want. You can do it in GeoGebra or on paper, whatever you like.
you are not answering my calls. We were supposed to meet at Allsafe, or did you forget again? Dick.
So you're going to see the 3 being repeated here. So just behind it there, you've got the yellow post on the roadway. I'm assuming that is something to stop cars hitting the fire hydrant. Speaking of the fire hydrant, you've got your circular sort of, it's like a white circle there. Up to your left, you've got the fire hydrant hose, and then the end of the roller door itself. So you've got your 3 circles there. You got your 3 windows across the underneath the name on the right hand side. But if you go further up the block to here, this is 13 lights on in this building. Exactly 13 that are bright.
Okay, you know what? I'm coming to your apartment.
Now over her shoulder, you got your 3 posts around the fire hydrant circle.
And when I get there, I expect you to have heard this message and already be prepping for Virtual Realty. Oh, and when you do get this voicemail, keep this in mind. Fuck you! You are a fucking selfish dickhead of an asshole who is the shittiest brother on earth! I don't want to say I hate you, but I hate you.
So the Virtual Realty logo, you can't quite see it there, but it's comprised of 9 circles. I'll try and get a good...
I hate you so fucking much if I show...
Okay, right there. You can see the first circle, and then there's 8 smaller circles, so 9 in total. Looking up on the wall, it looks like it says solar underneath the bikeway, which is like a sun deity kind of thing. Now the Paramendes, you're just about to see a shot of what this guy's done. So this is what sort of tipped over the edge of this being another version of the biblical story. So this stays up for a moment. Okay, now Happy Hard-On Henry is the name of the guy that Dominique's talking to here. Happy Hard-On Henry 80. So 8, H is the letter 8 in the English alphabet. And so Triple H is HHH, which is 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. So we're always coming back to these numbers. The same thing with 86. That reduces down to 9. A multiple of 9. So you've got your 3, 6, and your 9 that are very important in your occulted sort of symbolic decodery. So again, with the time on the end of the post there adds up to 6. So, and you're going to find this in an awfully lot through this series and others. 3, 6, 9. It's very important. And you can look into why that might be yourselves, or maybe I'll verbally vomit it out a little bit later on, but let's keep going. So Deep Steep, that's the FBI lady that's getting herself into some deep shit. So she did one bad thing, and then it's just been an evolution of bad things. So it seems to be that once things come into this reality, they're self-sustaining. So once a cycle begins, positive or negative, it tends to keep going until something stops it. Otherwise, it will just keep on going by itself. So they're self-sustaining. Like if you're doing good, you seem to just keep doing good. But if you're doing bad, well, then the same thing is true. So these cycles begin and they keep on going. And that's the root sort of symbology of what this place is all about, in my opinion. Now here you got the notepad with the microphone. It says they're listening underneath what could be determined to be the all-seeing eye at the top of the pyramid, if you take into the consideration the cone of the light. Now with this, they're obviously talking about technology with the microphone there. They're listening. You got a mobile device, you got a cell phone, you got a tablet, you're on the internet. Well, guess what? They're listening.
Elliot?
Now, interestingly here, you got your red, white, and blue, and a bit of yellow blowing out the back, which is for deception. You've probably already noticed the Christmas boot in the snow in about the middle of the scene. And then over on the left-hand side, underneath the Christmas tree that is to the left of the Salomon Stop and Shop, or Salamanos, I should say, you've got a giant foot. Giant foot, giant boot. For those of you who may know or may not know, my first video was about discovering the proof that giants were in fact real and have been existed in this place before us. I don't want to go into that too much. Also, there's a triptych of shadows on the roof behind the sign here. You've got your red, white, and blue, as I said. There's the yellow coming out the back with the golden sort of light that's almost coming in. You can see a sort of rays coming through there. So red on the sign, white on the building and the snow, blue over here. Let's keep going. It also looks like there's something sort of scrawled in the snow there. I can't quite make it out. It may be upside down or something. Now, before we get into this next scene, it's important to understand that Elliot and Mr. Robot are they're the same person. So they're two halves of a whole. And that's, not dissimilar to like you and like your higher self or God and the devil. There's that great line in, I'm sure it's quoted from somewhere else, but Anthony Hopkins in Westworld. He says to, I think it's to Bernard, you can't be God without being equated to the devil. And, they're just the opposites of the same thing. So life seems to come into place where there's a differential, and that you need a differential to create electricity. Like the opposite of the thing makes the thing. You can't be all good, but you can't be all bad either. Like in a very bad person, there's a little bit of good, and in a very good person, there's a little bit of bad, just like the yin-yang sign. So I think I don't need to break down too philosophically for you guys. If you're watching this, you probably got a lot of this sussed out already. So let's motor on.
Okay, looks like the logs were never sent. So all we gotta do is get rid of the body in the van, and we're good to go, okay?
Now you'll notice here, and I'll go back and forth over it a little bit, so. Now what did we just see here? They've hopped out of the van, going to fill up the fuel. So as they get out of the car, Eric, what am I talking about? Elliot and Mr. Robot are walking towards the back of the van. You notice that they're in lockstep, but opposite. So Elliot's walking with his left leg, Mr. Robot with his right. Elliot's got the dark top with his dark hair. Robot's got the light. So they're both opposite in their coloring as well. So light and dark. It's the light and dark side of the same person. Now here comes Tyrell Wellick dividing them, and he's carrying what looks like a red. It's obviously a jerry can, but it's got that star on it. It looks like, I don't know, is that sort of some kind of red star logo? What we can say for certain is that he's dividing Elliot and Mr. Robot. So he's, like the divider of them. So, Moses dividing the Red Sea. Obviously the Red Sea is, you've been split in half. Or the higher and lower consciousness. So we'll keep rolling forward with this, and there's more.
We're not here for shibbles. What are we here for? Go inside, pay for the gas, and grab a lighter.
Now, notice something interesting here on the logo here. So you've got your New York Lottery and Play Here is written in a sign. Now you've got the red jerky stick thrown across the play here. So it's almost like a, I don't know if you guys overseas have the same sort of traffic signs we have here, but you've got like, if it's a no right turn, you've got a right hand arrow with a circle around it with a red line through it, you know, like it's like no. So you've got your world with your line through it, no play here, and then you've got this external sort of golden box. Is that the virtual reality that they're sort of alluding to in this program? I'm not sure what the book is on the counter there, but we'll keep going forward. So that almost looks like it says, you know, no play on Earth anymore, not playing here.
Oh, internet's down. No e-coin.
Now, something important to notice when we're in these scenes, and there's two sections of this scene in this first part of this video. You notice that Mr. Elliot and Mr. Robot will be oscillating. So they go from left to right of each other, and occasionally they'll be divided by Tyrell Wellick there. So just watch the interaction here. It's very interesting. So Elliot's on the left at the moment, Robot's on the right. Now they've switched, and they're about to switch back.
You look awfully familiar.
So that's like your pulse, you know, like your alternating current, a sine wave, up and down, left and right, good and bad, light and dark, male, female, the whole thing. It all works on that split, or duality.
Sorry, we're kind of in a hurry.
The idea is to overcome
Sure,
the
we haven't
duality
met
and reunite.
Yeah, you must have mistaken for someone else.
You an act.
So I'm not sure what it's called, but in the background here you've got this, is that a rodent coil? Obviously you've got your like symbolism of the DNA up here, the green and red. Like obviously there's Christmas decorations, but they're sort of also in there. You've got your 3 loops back here, which you probably already saw.
Sure.
Can you just ring him up?
Wait, will you want Big Brother?
Yeah, that must be it.
Knew it. I never forget a face.
Keep the change.
So here's your red, white, and blue again. You got your red sign, your blue ice, and your thing in the middle. The address is 2117. So that goes back to 11, which is 1 and 1. So obviously you guys know what that means.
Where'd you move the van to?
It's cool, man. It's cool. You don't need to call the cops, okay?
So here Darlene was trying to steal the car. You got this drunk Santa supposedly running up to her. In the background there, you'll notice this becomes a bit more apparent later on. You've got your pyramid here built up with these lights. Again, it's 9 lights. 8 lights, sorry. Is it 8 or 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lights, I think. Yeah, and you got your red dot on the top, so I just thought that was interesting.
Hold on, you trying to steal my car? Walk.
Now, over the top of here, you've got this cross, Jesus Saves, and New Life here. So they're obviously outside some sort of church. And this guy is playing the Jesus figure. So, and you'll notice that in the way their conversation goes. So let's keep going.
Wait, what's up?
Dude, do you really want to deal with the hassle of calling the cops? It's just gonna end in an all-nighter for you at the station, followed by a shit ton of paperwork. Besides, nothing happened. You busted me. I'm walking away. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
So he's doing like the Jesus hands. He's got only the one finger up, but it's that, you know, as above, so below hand position that you see both the Baphomet and oftentimes the Jesus in.
I got questions that need answering. First, have you seen my keys?
No.
That was my only question.
Can I please go now?
So I think we've passed it already, but
No.
Oh, wait.
behind, let's just go back.
I gotta walk.
Come on, Ozzy, man.
Yourself, can
Whoop, too far.
Busted me. I'm walking away. No harm. Walk. I need to stop you. There will be much to share belong to she. So you're afraid of not. Stop me off. I go down. We'll reach.
Right there in the back. So you got the pyramid made up of the lights going up the steps and the all-seeing eye of the loop up above it.
Dude, do you really want to deal with the cops? It's just gonna end in an all-nighter for you at the station, followed by a shit ton of paperwork. Besides, nothing happened. You busted me. I'm walking away. Harm, no foul.
Yeah, I got questions.
So if you watch the episode, you'll see as they go through these guys, their relationship develops into a situation where the Santa figure, who's obviously made to look a bit like Jesus, and you've got that subtle, reminder that, hey, Jesus saves, this guy's Jesus, and you should see him as such. Like, they don't come out and say it, but they're planting these subtle cues. And every time it flicks back to Darlene, you see the bottom part of that cross, which is like subconsciously that's going to remind you every time you see that, oh, that's the cross, oh, that's Jesus, oh, Jesus on the cross, that's Santa. And fortunately I've paused it right here because you can see the hand gesture he's making. He's got the pinky and the pointer finger up, which is synonymous with the devil horn sort of posture. And again, Jesus and Satan, or Jesus and Lucifer, whatever you want to refer to them as, they're basically the opposites of one another, and without the opposites you can't have the middle.
No.
That was my only question.
Can I please go now?
Oh, wait, I got another question. Can you start my car?
Really?
Yeah, I usually use my keys and I can't seem to find them. You drive a hard bargain, darling.
Darlene.
Exactly. Let's ride!
Oh, guys, I understand. But like I said, internet's down. Phones hooked to the internet.
So here you're going to see an interesting dynamic between Mr. Robot
That means
and
phones
Elliot.
down, too. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere here.
None of our phones have service. There's gotta be someplace nearby with cell reception.
Sure, back in town.
What town?
Pikes Hollow.
How do we get there?
It's too far to walk unless you take a shortcut. But my husband's...
So 9 lights behind the lady back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's coming to pick me up in a bit. If you want to run.
I mean, obviously you don't have time to count these every time that they pop up, but subconsciously they're certainly going in, and these numbers, they carry the meaning with them that they do.
Where's the shortcut?
Got it! Tyrell Wellick? Right? That's how I know you. But I never knew you were on Big Brother. Holy smokes!
So you notice too, just the way she's dressed. She's got the red thing on. You've got your chalice here. So she's like, obviously she's a lady, but she's playing a very sort of feminine sort of character here, and you're being reminded of that symbolically and symbologically with this.
I cannot believe you are
Also, the colors, red and blue.
in my store. Can I get a selfie?
She's got the devil cut on her phone.
No, I'm not him. You have me
Tribute in the background, of course.
confused, okay?
The shortcut. How do we get there?
Are you sure you're not Tyrell Wellick? E-core fella. You are the spitting image of him.
Yes, I'm sure.
That's too bad.
I suppose if you to invert this symbol that you've got up here, where you've got the sort of the coils leading up, which could be the dual serpents, which is your 2 strands of DNA leading up to the spark at the top. I've got an interesting topic I'm going to be doing soon about the old Roman helmets, with the horsehair kind of mohawk on the top. I think I've got a bit of an idea that I'll share with you guys and see what you think in an upcoming video. So stay tuned for that one.
Dad. Sure like to meet him one day. Seems like a nice guy.
Jesus fucking Christ, woman! Where's this shortcut? How the fuck do we get to town?
So that was, your analogous to your eclipse, where the other part takes over and just basically the moon's gone, in the same way that when during a lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, the moon, it doesn't just be overcome by the sun, it basically disappears. Like, it's not there anymore. There's some sort of electric or electromagnetic thing going on there where if you're familiar with the electric universe theory, they say that the universes form as like pearls on a string of these long currents of plasma, which is concentrated ions electrified. And they think that that's what the moon might be, some sort of magnetic interaction between the Earth and the ionosphere, or whatever you want to call it. There's a differential there that's causing the moon to exist. Like, the moon's not a solid lump of rock that you can go and stand on. I don't know if you're familiar with the the news that came out a little while ago that got squashed quite quickly, that the moon rocks allegedly that NASA provided to the Queen turned out to be a hoax. It was just a regular old rock. So moving along.
Whoa, aren't you friggin' rude?
So that's all we got for this stretch. I will be back with the next episode in the series probably tomorrow. Stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.